Nice, nice, fantastic. Thank you so much. The questions that we have today, we're very curious about the first wave of volunteers. We do know that Karen's mum has identified herself as being a first wave volunteer. How was she selected to come to Earth? And does she have more than one lifetime here? Did she have more than one lifetime here?
There are several that volunteered to come to this planet. The assignment was going to be a support role to raise the energy. It wasn't really an assisting awakening people. It was more of a helping the planet in its vibrational challenges it was going through. The ones that were selected to come here had helped on other planets before that were going through similar crisis. So the first waivers that were sent here to planet Earth, it was, yes, a volunteer status, but we also wanted them to have experience and some knowledge on how to support a planet. The negative energies that were entering their solar system and then finally onto this planet was growing increasingly horrible. It was hard to contain. The first waivers that did come, a lot of them got distracted. They weren't prepared because they'd never experienced the heavy density that was here on planet Earth. They'd been to other 3D planets, but none with such a thick veil. They knew they were coming here with no knowledge of who they were or really what they were going to do. But they all felt like they could still carry out their roles. Many of them did get off path. Most got off path. Some still had insight. Karen's mother would have premonitions throughout her life. She was actually afraid to speak her truth. She saw as a younger person, maybe young adulthood, that when she said things, they tended to come true. And they weren't always good things. So she learned to keep her thoughts just thoughts. She didn't let the words of them come forth. And her daughter always wondered why she was a very quiet person. She viewed her as meek and almost weak, but that wasn't the case. She was just afraid of manifesting. She didn't know that's what it was for herself then, but that's what she would do. She would have a thought and say it, and sometimes it came true. There's a lot of first waivers that still had their abilities, such as that, and it confused them throughout their life. The second waivers were brought in maybe another decade and a half later. They start entering Earth for support. It was a different role. It wasn't only to support the planet, it was to support the first waivers and some of humanity that was beginning to wake up. They did a better job with their mission. They didn't get as off path or distracted. But there wasn't enough of them. And that's when more volunteers were asked to come to Earth. And they were considered or labeled the third wave. Many of them are still here. After those three groups were brought to Earth. Children began to be born to support humanity and in the planet also. There was rainbow children, crystal children, star children. Is there anything else you want to know about them?
How is their missions going? The star children, the crystal children.
They're almost untouchable from the controllers, the dark agendas. Even though they are more awake and have a thinner veil, they still don't know entirely who they were before. Society views them kind of as entitled because of their confidence in knowing what they want and expecting it. That's just their self-love shining through. That may give many a different perspective on the younger generations that have come forth.
I love that. Well, I hope that every adult and parent has entitled children, because that obviously a success story. Congratulations. I love that perspective, so thank you so much. Karen was curious if her mother had had another lifetime here.
None of the volunteers had another lifetime here. Their service was that one lifetime, all of the volunteers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. We're curious to know what she is doing now. Is there anything she would like us to know?
She did want to come in and speak, so thank you for that. She's doing very well. She was so excited and happy when she did have her exit off this planet. She was here for over 8 decades, and she was very ready to go. Right now, she wants her daughter to know that she's sending her a lot of love. She's very proud of the accomplishments that she's made. I know she's saying that there's more to go through, but it won't be near as hard of a path like it has been in the last 10 years. Things will start to develop faster because of energies that are being sent here. She's saying she works in a realm that's not too far off of planet Earth. It's where a lot of the souls go that do depart. And it's kind of like a therapy area. There's a lot of breaking down of the 3D energy that stays with the soul when they exit this planet. And they go to a certain chamber. I'm seeing it as a very bright area, and whatever makes that soul comfortable is what they get to be surrounded with. It helps with their therapy, and it expedites their recovery if there's any traumas that they need to learn to release. So that's what she's been doing since she's departed here and went through her own cycle with that. She enjoyed everything that helped her recover fast, and she wanted to help other souls. So she stuck around and volunteered to do that job for a while.
Lovely. Well, I really appreciate all her compassion and support for humanity. That is incredible. When she says that there is more to go through, what is she referring to?
Earth has its history written, so to speak. there are timelines that are already in place. I can't give you any spoilers, but there is a few things coming up that really haven't been witnessed before. Anybody with an open mind can almost imagine what may be next and what signs to look for. But once these start to occur, it won't be too much longer. And humanity will experience a new world. And that will be great for everyone. I don't see many being left back on this planet, but there are a few. A few meaning like maybe 17 or 18% of the population of humans here now. And I only say humans because the other species will already have their own destinations as well. And there's only one race that looks like that may be staying here till the bitter end.
Is there anything else you would tell us about that one race that will be staying until the bitter end?
They have nowhere to go. They feel like they have to fight for this to be their home. They're not accepting that it's the end of this vessel, even though they have knowledge of it. So they're gonna try to hang on as long as they can. They think they can make it work. They're used to having denser energies. That's what their species of live with forever. They're used to, it looks like, not having the support of a soul and a planet. They've lived on a desolate or a dead rock before.
Do they not have spiritual, higher dimensional beings helping them to be able to help them be located to go somewhere else?
Who they got in a relationship with is not willing to help them. That they were a higher being, and they were the draconians. That's who they got in a relationship with, and it's the reptilians that want to stay here. That's what she's showing me. They the draconians brought the reptilians here just to do their bidding, their dirty work. They don't care what happens to them. But those were the higher beings that helped them. They knew they were without a planet and a home, so they brought them here. And they thought it would go more their way with the reptilians on the planet. But the humans had a lot of support as well, off-planet support. It's been a tug of war for eons with this planet and with humanity. Everybody wants it their way. But good will win. Love will win.
Is there any collectives that are willing to help and support the reptilians so they will have somewhere else to go?
Yes, there are, but they were unapproachable because the draconians have shielded them for so long. They weren't really enslaved, but they had a contract or a treaty between themselves, and nobody wanted to interfere. But once the draconians leave them to fend for themselves, they will find there are a lot of loving beings that will help them out.
Okay, is there anything that we can do to help with any of this?
Not until they're released from the draconian stronghold. Once that occurs, that opens up lines of communication that were never available to reason with the reptilians.
Can you give me a sense of the timeline and when that would occur?
It'll be on this timeline, and it will be very last minute for this planet, for this planet's existence. It'll be a very a quick rescue mission, because the draconians you're gonna hang around until things almost expire. I see it almost purposeful. They don't want to take the reptilians back to their own planet with them. It's very selfish, it seems. But they will leave them here, and there'll be other starships hanging around just to rescue them, it looks like. Because if this planet is desolate or demolished, that whole race would not exist anymore. And nobody wants to really see that happen. They deserve to have their own home, and they deserve to grow, because they can grow and they can become higher beings. They've just never been shown that yet.
So this is an extinction situation for them if it's not resolved.
It can be, but there are plans made that will prevent that from happening.
Okay. And as we know, that the higher perspective is to be unconditional loving beings to all, hoping that the reptilians will accept their evolutionary step to be able to have compassion and higher frequency emotions. Is that where?
Yes, that is correct. You can almost compare their trials and history to what's happened to humanity and humanity's enslavement. Although humans have a more enhanced soul and the capability of growing and knowing that they are a being of light, and I'm trying to, it's all light, it's all energy, and it's all love. The reptilians don't know the love piece to find their light.
It's quite unfortunate, really, for them. I think as spiritual people, we are supposed to have compassion for all while observing it all pan out. There was a follow-up question, but I just... okay, thank you so much.
Maybe a follow-up question. There are some reptilians that somehow evolved. It's like a little clan of them. They were all part of one region on Earth, and they were possibly exposed to higher levels of energy. So there are some that have already advanced enough to know the difference. And they haven't really broken away from the higher draconians. They still have to respect and honor what they agreed to a long time ago, but they're just waiting their time. And if they're left here long enough and they meet up with humans that are left behind, there'll be some kind of alliance between the two. Like I said, the reptilians are used to the thicker density. They know how to survive it. They know how to control the emotions because they do have emotions. That's one thing they will be able to help the humans that are left behind here with. I see that there are going to be different pockets around the world. The vessel concentrates on North America because that's where she lives, but she's being shown there's many pockets that the higher energy did raise up some of these reptilians. They're not into a different dimension, and it will take them a long time to even get to the fourth in their lifetimes, in their generations to come. But with that DNA change, because of the energy, there's hope and possibility for them.
Okay, thank you so much. It's so intriguing. How many timelines is there currently from your perspective?
I really see like 5 main important timelines, but there are many, of course, and they intertwine. It's like if you're braiding your hair and they could cross over, and sometimes they even touch each other. Timelines can react that way. But the one that you're conscious on and currently living, that one is actually the most important one. There's a lot of higher beings on that timeline, and they chose to be here to experience and to help. With those higher beings here, that is one reason it's made more important. Everybody is viewing that one. Everyone from the cosmos.
Interesting. And so the other 4 timelines can still play out, but this one's most focused?
Sometimes timelines are developed as a backup plan. In case something goes awry, it's like we can flip a switch and we can go to another timeline. So there's not devastation, or we have more time to complete something. Does that make any sense to you there?
Yeah, it's really fascinating. Thank you so much. Is there any timelines where the planet can be healed and she stays here?
Gaia made a choice not to stay here, and there's no timelines. Her timelines are just one. Even though we live out many or can, she's consistent. And all those timelines that were played out on this planet, it did take a lot of energy for her to support all that. And most of them, all of them, had too much negativity. So I'm trying to, I see a sphere and it has all these tentacles, and the tentacles represent the timelines. And she's trying to support all them and give them energy and love and nurturing.
Sounds so draining.
Yeah, it's like having too many children.
Just a few million, billion, I understand that.
So she's very happy to go to a new vessel. I don't see the 5 dimensions having the timelines as they do here on the 3D.
Okay, thank you so much. So intriguing. Karen was also curious about Orion. Would you like me to ask the full question, or do you know what she's already referring to?
Yes, she's been curious about that. sector for quite a while. There is a portal there as well that we use to enter this part of the universe. There are different planets. It's almost like a segregation. There's honorable Octarians and there's negative Octarians. And the honorable ones have been sitting on the sidelines observing, but they have compassion for what's going on here. They don't feel like they can interrupt the processes already set forth by some of the other collectives that are involved with the ascension for this planet. So they don't offer their help out. They try to persuade their brothers, we'll call that, but I want to refer to them as the negative Orions because they are working with the Greys. Neither one of those races want to see humanity evolve to the next level, at least not yet. They want to stunt the growth. They don't want to stop it. They want to slow it down. It's like they have plans that aren't complete. It's almost like materials that they want. Minerals in this whole solar system that they're trying to get so they can use them for their own benefits. It's like a trading with other species somewhere else. And that's why they want to take them. But the longer they can have support on Earth, they can carry out their plans. It's almost like they're not aware that humanity is not in control of that decision. It is the planet Gaia itself that has the final word on when the big show happens.
If humanity got its shit together and became high vibrational, is there an opportunity for us to shift before Gaia even is ready to leave?
Absolutely. If that would make our job so much easier. If humanity were to reach that peak, it needs to be at a peak level of high vibrational, unconditional love. The knowledge part can be taught later. But those two things definitely need to come from each individual soul. And it's very hard because they've forgotten who they were. And finding yourself sometimes takes many lifetimes.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much. The Greys. Can you let me understand who they are? They are referred to as the Greys, but I wanted to know more about their origins and what we would call them if we had to say that they were starseeds.
They present themselves as helpful. And in some cases, they truly are because they are very old souls and have a multitude of talents and knowledge and healing as well. But they generally reserve that for their own race. They appear to need help with their own planet, and that's why they want minerals that they can trade so they can rebuild their own civilization. So they don't want to be harmful, but they also want to survive. So they're going to get what they need to secure their existence and their future.
What sort of minerals do they collect?
I'm seeing crystals, and every planet in this solar system has different crystals, and they perform different functions and support. That is one of the reasons Earth needed extra support. Some of these crystals have been removed in the past.
Oh, yes. Interesting. I have had many clients who have had life regressions where they've gone back to their home planets and their crystals have been incredibly depleted. So that's very interesting. Thank you.
Yes.
In terms of there being a war out there, we've heard this being referenced by many spiritual people. What do you want us to know and understand about this war?
I'm getting a lot of different pictures and they're flashing through so fast. I was trying to dissect that. Sorry. There are a lot of moving pieces. I don't think any of these agendas that other species had in mind for humanity started out ill-willed, but they did all have agendas that were selfish for their own race. Just like the Greys, they wanted something very specific so they could preserve themselves. When this planet was seeded, those beings want to see humanity succeed because that is the purpose of seeding this planet, so they can seed other planets. The universe and the universes never stop growing. More and more is always created. When you graduate from one dimension to the next, there's always, of course, more coming behind you. And that's where humanity is. They're coming up behind. And so they or us, you are all galactic citizens. So I'm going to start saying us or we. When we advance, that makes room for the lower dimensions. And then more planets are created and seeded. It's a lot to be said about this war, but there's just two sides. There might be 20 sides, 20 different agendas out there. There are even some collectives that are supposed to be having the same path, so to speak, for humanity that still have discrepancies or differences on how it should be worked out. Those are tiny little battles, not truly wars. It's more of a spiritual or a intellectual war. There's not a lot of combat because wars, of course, can be fought differently. And when you're in a higher dimension, you don't really want to kill or bring harm. So the intellect and those struggles play more of a role in this type of war.
Thank you. So intriguing. And so then there's so much I want to ask, but I understand. It just seems so peculiar to us to find out that some of the collectives aren't all on board with each other, but it also makes sense that they have their own flavors and preferences of how things should go. So it really shouldn't surprise us, but it's so intriguing when we hear about high dimensional beings having different preferences and approaches.
Yes, and some of the ones that come in through these channels, they're not the final decision makers, although they have a lot of information to share. So there's different tiers to the collectives, and they have to respect and honor their wisdom. They do bring their cases and their information back, and humanity's experiences plays a huge role in that. Whether it's on the whole race level or individual levels, both experiences count. Everything is important. Everything plays a role. Every person is very important. And I want to emphasize that because you should really be working definitely on your self-love. You're very, very important. Everybody is very equal in that respect. I know that, or we have seen how people are raised or conditioned. You can be very wounded, very traumatized, sometimes on purpose, just to lower your outlook on yourself and your confidence. But you need to know that you're very loved, and everybody is loved the same. Everybody's important. All the experiences and lessons that you learn, they're agreed upon by you, of course. And you master them by getting through the emotions, being balanced, loving yourself. Once you love yourself, it's a lot easier to turn these experiences into something loving for yourself, actually. I know you may not feel that today, but you will see it one day.
Yeah, I love that. I love being able to love myself and choose healthy choices for myself, physically, spiritually.
I know that a lot of society was not taught to put themselves first, especially the female energies that were on Earth. They took a backseat a lot in everything, such as in their families, their family units. The men or the children always came first, so they always put themselves last. While you can still have self-love and carry out those social expectations, it's very hard, and it can wear on you after a while, especially if you have too many children.
Sending love to Gaia.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
She needs to definitely observe and have self-love, as she is. It seems like she's still holding on for humanity when it almost seems to be doing her a disservice there.
She has a lot of self-love, but she also knows the importance of supporting life. And that is her true passion.
Love it. Well, very appreciative. So thank you very much. We were talking earlier about going to sleep with negativity. What can you tell us what happens there?
I see a lot of darkness. It's very empty too. It's kind of it's not a place I don't want to spend a lot of time here, that's for sure. There are beings that can come to you and influence you when you are at a lower vibration. And then during your waking hours, it can definitely affect you and your life greatly, which will keep your vibration down low. So the best way to protect yourself, and many different things will work for you and not others, and vice versa. You can meditate before going to sleep. There's been an old saying that says, never go to bed mad. Some people pray, which raises their vibration before they go to bed. Looks like this vessel converses with her higher self, and that puts her in a positive vibration. So anything that works before you go to sleep, set your intent, have your vibrations high, and that will protect you from anything in the astral world that can accost you. Even asking for a white bubble of protection, also, and having your team with you. You can ask your spiritual team to be with you as well. If you know that your vibrations aren't high enough when you're going to sleep, that would be for the best.
What about those people who are addicted to sleeping tablets or get drunk in sleep or are on other types of pharmaceutical mind altering? Does that also
That
expose?
definitely alters their ability to grow. There have been many that have reached great levels in their growth, but they backslide. They'll have some type of devastating event or trauma occur, and they start to self-medicate. And if they can't break that habit, it can be very devastating for their growth and even their life. It's not a good thing, no.
Everyone has choices, and you would think that spiritual people should be able to navigate themselves forward to higher frequencies because they know that's their responsibility.
Yes. I'm seeing that it's very hard when they realize they backslide, then they find disappointment in themselves. And sometimes that solidifies to them, because it's not really true, but it solidifies to them that they're not worthy. And once they reach that point, it's very hard to climb back out. And it's even trying to seek help, they resist it. They just want to be left alone, it looks like. And there's thankfully not that many souls like that I'm seeing, but it does happen. So to avoid something like that, you always need to talk it out. Don't let it get to that point. Everybody has the traumas, and that's where your lessons lie, unfortunately. But everybody has them, and how you navigate through them reminds you of who you really are. So you always have to try to take that higher road. It will bring you to your true self.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. Indeed. Everyone's got challenges in their lives that they are overcoming. So It's our choices to navigate that and to balance ourselves forward. So thank you very much. Really intriguing to explore that more, because Karen was saying earlier that she had heard from somewhere that if you go to sleep negative, there is a situation where your soul can be swapped. What can you tell us about that?
I think that is a practice that does occur. She wasn't sharing it with the vessel, but you've asked the direct question. She didn't want to. I didn't want to scare anybody by using that term. But in the astral world, if you're of lower vibration, there are beings that will try to do a soul swap. And that occurs because when you're in your awake state, now there's more negativity on Earth. And that does impede the progress of the ascension.
Absolutely. Yeah, geez. Okay, so then, and I'm assuming that's what happens to the soul that is swapped out from that?
It represents a walk-in. And I'm not really viewing it as an entire soul swap. It's like you are allowing another soul with not so great of intentions to share your body with you. So now there's two souls in there, yourself and this walk-in. This walk-in can be temporary. You need to raise your vibrations and so have some type of healing. Even quantum healing will find this out for you. And it can be asked to leave to where you can, yes, ban them from, I guess, sharing your vessel with you. I see that type. I don't. A full soul swap is very rare. That would mean the soul that was in there before totally agrees to leave the body, and the other being comes in and finishes the life at a lower vibration, a lower dimension. But this is all being done to slow down the process of ascending.
I am so interested to hear about this. I haven't come across any lower vibrational walk-ins. I certainly view my vibration from my walk-in to be not negative but more neutral, as he is still
I see him as very temporary. Like was mentioned, they can be asked to leave and they have to honor that. They can only stay if they're accepted. It's almost like you went into a bar and somebody's trying to pick you up. It really feels that way. And you're not yourself because you're distracted, whether it be by not setting your intentions, not doing, staying away from things that alter your mind and your thinking. So you're vulnerable. That's the best way to put it. And your emotions can make you vulnerable as well. You're just vulnerable. And those are the ones they prey on. But once the person realizes or can get back to the higher mindset, they can expel that extra soul that's trying to invade their life and affect the energy of everything around them. That was tough to say. Whew.
So interesting. Okay, I'm going to explore that more because now I'm really curious for so many reasons. So thank you very much for that. I'm curious to know about the well, actually, Karen brought up Sam the illusionist, and we wanted to be able to understand his agenda for humanity. What can you tell us?
He is a channeler. He has the best intentions to put out information that he feels is very true and honest through the information he's getting. I see that he has a different collective that gives him information, but every channeler does. Some do share the same collectives, and he does have pieces of different collectives that come through him. There's no ill intent in him at all. He's a very peaceful, loving soul, and he just wants to help. So the messages that he gets out, he feels like he's doing a great service for humanity.
Nice. Okay. And what can you tell us about the voice?
Many channelers have different theatrics that naturally come through. It's almost like they're consciously and subconsciously doing this to be more believable. And with him, he thinks that when his voice changes, he's more believable, that there's a connection and he is channeling and somebody else is speaking through him. So his voice always changes to be more credible.
So it gives him the confidence to believe that the information is not his.
It gives him the confidence to feel worthy to connect, and yes, that the information's not his. That's the best way to put it. Yes.
Okay, so he's kind of distancing himself from the ownership of the content.
Yes, even though he's attached, he's detaching himself. So the other beings that need to provide the messages can come through.
Nice. Okay, well that makes sense. And in terms of the information, I mean, I don't listen to him, but what is the information he's sharing publicly about the shift?
He has not really put anything out there that I have seen about the shift. A lot of his information is not self-promoting. He's not self-promoting himself. He's trying to build up humanity and give them tools to move forward. That's most of his information. There is some information about other species. I think he's talked about the Anunnaki and the Orions, and he focuses on Mars a lot. So there's something going on Mars that he's been given information through his channelings.
And what's going on with Mars?
Mars is an outpost, is what I'm seeing. It's a base camp for the negative Orions, and it looks like they are working with the Anunnaki and the Greys on that planet. They can monitor their boots on the ground, so to speak, that are here on Earth and collect their data and information. And they all have their different agendas. Like the Greys want crystals, the Anunnakis want gold. It helps cool their planet or their vessel that they travel around in. The Orions just like to make war with people, not them in war, but they like to pit one being against the other, one species against the other. They like to see that conflict.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting hobby. So, okay, is there anything else you want us to know about the Orions? Because we heard about Genghis Khan and the negative Orion. Is this something you want to discuss with us further?
It appears that he still likes to feel important. I don't think he was granted another life here on Earth. So he entered a different contract, and that was with the Orions. He's not very, he's not a leader. He's not in a leader role, but he is working with the negative Orions. And that's what I see for him.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And in terms of a claim that I saw on the Facebook, so obviously it's quite questionable, Ashtar is fake and he's been looshing.
He's actually wanting to come through and talk for a second. He feels it very important to polish his image when it comes to false accusations that affect beings that he really likes to protect and communicate with.
Fair enough.
He wants you to know that everything that he has done for humanity is at the highest, most honorable capacity that any being could ever have. Not only has that never occurred, him and his command has supported Earth and its occupants with extra energy just to maintain sometimes life on a daily basis. Not only to help with the ascension and growth moving forward. So he's already gone now, but he did want to state his case on that. I think that came through loud and clear.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, we have talked to him many times. We would not assume that he would ever loosh or be part of anything fake. I just think it's revolting that so many spiritual people are just spreading bullshit. It's just so eye-rolling and intolerable. And I just, I don't know what else to say. I just, sometimes so many people disappoint me.
It starts out as a distraction, those rumors, and the ones that aren't true channelers pick it up and run with it because to them it's new information and it makes them look important.
Oh my gosh. Can the egos please be removed from those? Well, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's once you leave 3D, you can remove that ego.
Well, some people can not be ego based and still be in the 3D. So it's a choice, right?
Yes, it's almost a training too. When it comes to the ego, if you've let it rule your life for so long, it becomes second nature. And there's a lot of bad habits to break when that has occurred. So when you look at it as free will, and you've let your ego make most of your decisions, did you really have free will?
Yeah, it's this, in quotation marks, spiritual people who still make a lot of excuses about their behaviors and don't live in spiritual approaches, but yet speak spiritual. It's actions, not words, that makes you spiritual.
Yes, that is so true. It'll all be learned. People learn a little bit each day, and the more they open their mind and listen and absorb the information that is freely given to them, they can grow faster.
I believe so, and especially now that everyone has just learned about sleeping with positive mindsets, everyone's going to be
Yeah.
um, I mean, we know we've heard so many sessions be told that we must have higher perspectives and high vibrations. So we understand that. So thank you so much for all the information you've provided. I do have a private question for Karen, and it's about her flight. Are you able to talk to her about that, please?
Yes. There are different dates that are coming up. One of your flights definitely overlap. I can't guarantee your return, but your flight going to visit your daughter is safe. Something may occur while you're there, and if it does, all is well. It was purposeful and it was meant to happen this way. The family members that are at home, you will see them on a ship if something happens before you return. And that was, I know, her main concern was something happening while she was gone. But if it does, you're with your older daughter, and she'll need support as well. She hasn't been around you. She doesn't know your energy. It would be actually a very great thing if it did happen while you were with her. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you. I really appreciate you giving us the information. And I just realized that Karen did have another private question, public question, but we could just ask it anyway, just so we can hear it. Is the government planning a fake alien invasion? And if so, what will that look like?
They have been testing some call it a blue beam project. It's holograms that play out in the sky. Actually, some of the things that they're calling disclosure is the government testing the public's gullibility, I guess, on what they will believe and interpret as real. So this coming month in June, one of their higher agencies is supposed to release a bunch of UFO files. Not all of them will be released, just still what they want the public to know. And they can incorporate that into building this illusion that they want to play out. And that's definitely only for fear and control, because then the government can step in and say, I will save you. Let's send out all of our air support. It will look like something out of a movie, and they will find a way to destroy a ship, and everybody will be in awe because now they've saved the world. And that's going to be very purposeful for them. They will be the heroes, and it might even be the start of the one world government that they've been trying to implement for a while. They don't have a lot of time to play that out. We're not very concerned on even stopping or intervening, because once the true event happens, which they can't stop or change or control, they have no, their arms don't reach that far. They have no control. So it'll be just like watching a movie for us, and for the people that have discernment and can feel the difference, they will know. They'll know the truth.
So it's kind of allowing them to be distracted with their little blue beam project while everyone else is tinkering along. I can understand that's quite a good one.
Yes, yes. It will give actually people reason to grow more.
So true. Well, we love a good growth. What doesn't break us makes us stronger. So fantastic. One more question out of curiosity. Sirius, the planet, is it just Palladians, or is there a whole mongrel of different species living there?
It's very well traveled. People visit here. People, I say that too often. Other beings, they go in and out of there. It's another 3D planet, but unlike Earth, it's not near as heavy. And the beings that do come in and have missions there, they don't have to hide who they are. They're accepted. Like here on Earth, humans don't accept the aliens, the label they've given, because they've been taught to fear, and in the veil they live with, and the disinformation, they don't know any better. Sirius is different. They're educated, they're exposed, there's transparency. There's still some negativity going on. I don't see the root cause of that, but they do need some support.
Oh, okay. And so is part of the collectives that are helping us here on this planet also helping that other planet?
Yes, they do have that support of shared collectives. That's the best way to put it. Yes.
Man, it's as if you don't have enough on your plate with this planet. You have, how many other planets are you currently supporting?
It reaches so far. And they're all at different levels of urgency. So there's hundreds that are urgent. And then there's thousands and thousands that are monitored. And then there's tens of thousands that are in the process of co-creation.
Good grief. Okay. Wow. Best not be keeping you any further then. We've got quite a mission. Is there a final message that you have for Karen?
When we told her, enjoy your vacation, now you know why.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
But no, we send the love and support, and we always love connecting. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Can we send Ashtar lots of love as well, because I don't like false bullshit being said about anyone. So I feel really sorry for him.
Yes, definitely. He is thanking you, and he's always grateful to connect. He doesn't feel like you ever need to say or send him the support and love. He's just very grateful and very respectful for what we do here.
Can I use my free will and ask that everyone that has said ill will about him gets a smack bottom?
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, thank you. I'm assuming there's no private messages for me.
Yes, we have a private message for you. You, we feel your challenges. You will find your answers. I can't, of course, help you with that because you have free will, but I can see that you get through it with surprising results. You will experience the joy and happiness that you've been longing for. You think that you have a void there, but you truly don't. You have love and support all around you, and you have love and support from us. Don't ever forget that. You have to feel the love that we send you. We send it daily. So, with all that being said, all is well. You're very loved, and we respect and truly enjoy the work that you do.
Well, thank you. I just hope I'm doing the right work, and I always worry that I'm not asking the right questions and doing as I could be. So I thank you.
Just to let you know that your subconscious and your team helps you with your questions. Even if you were asking the wrong question, the information that comes through is what needs to be heard for that moment. So don't second guess yourself, but we do need you because you're very strong emotionally and spiritually, and you make it very easy for us to get our message out.
Well, great, because the messages do need to get out there. Is all the people who know about this shift, are they already aware of the shift? I'm curious if there is anyone still needing to know this information. How do we get this information to them?
You're well aware that everybody wakes up on their own timing, whatever they set forth to experience before they came here. We honor their contracts. So a lot of them planned it perfectly for themselves, for that very moment that they have that aha. So there is no worry there as well. And it's exactly the way that they planned it to the nanosecond.
Great. Okay. Well, I'm glad. Then I will remove the feeling of responsibility for that. That is fantastic.
Definitely. Rest assured, you're in great shape there.
Okay. Good.